Good morning, vlog. It's already a shit day. It's already a hard Monday. My husband and I slept in by accident like 8:40 and he has to be at the office at 9. So it's been a day and it's not even like 9:30 yet. So yeah, nice. It's cuz this past weekend was very fun. I had my best friend's birthday at a pub nearby and had a great time. Sampled a lot of beers, and when we were just resting on Sunday, it was kind of a wash. So, yeah, just yeah. But today is Monday. Thankfully, I have no meetings today for my job, and it seems like a super chill day. So, I do have some things that I have to do, but it seems like it's going to be like pretty chill. So, I think I'm going to take advantage of that and just get some things done around the house because it needs to be done. It's kind of a mess in here. Kitchen's a mess, laundry's a mess. It's just litter's a mess. I just gotta get it together. I'm just a girl. It's hard. When I have to do all this, it's so annoying. Genuinely, like, one of the things that triggers my depression and anxiety the most is chores, honestly. And I know that's such a childish thing to say, but it's very, very true, of just the constant hell that is laundry and dishes is enough to drive you crazy. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do them today and tackle the kitchen and picking up, and I have to do the litter and clean the office room because it smells like poop and pee from I have the guilty party right here. I think that's what I'm going to do today. This entire vlog is going to be a little bit of like, let's get my life together. It's not really going to be a reading vlog because I have a trip to get ready for on Friday, and I'm super, super excited. That same friend that we went to her birthday for, she and I and our partners are going to be going to a cottage outside of the city, and I am so excited for that. I live in downtown Toronto proper. Like, I am literally a 10-minute walk to the financial district, so I am like in the concrete jungle where dreams are made of. Even though it's Toronto, so it's not New York. But I mean, I'm surrounded by buildings, and thankfully I do have many parks. That's a great thing about Toronto, is there's so much green space. But a green space is very different than being in the middle of the woods. So I'm so excited to just be in the middle of nature, and even though it's still like the end of winter, not quite spring yet, so it's not like going to be peak beauty with like the leaves and stuff, but I'm not complaining. I want to be in it now. And the cottage itself looks so cute. So we're gonna go there, we're gonna hike, we're gonna read, we're gonna cook together, and just celebrate my wonderful friend and just have a great time. I will be sprinkling in some of my reading updates because this is the book that I want to read this week before Friday. It's Till We Have Faces by C.S. Lewis. This book I have actually already read. I got it back in 2016 and I was super curious about it because it's a retelling of a Greek myth, and I was like, man, C.S. Lewis retelling a myth? That's pretty interesting, because all I associate C.S. Lewis with is Chronicles of Narnia or Christianity, so I don't really like see him as like an expansive author. He is, but at the time I didn't really realize that. I remember loving this book back then, like really, really loving it, but I lost my copy. So recently, like last week, I picked this up again, and I'm actually doing something that I don't usually do, which I'm highlighting and underlining and annotating as much as I can, just because I don't usually do that with my when I first read a book. I'm not a huge annotator or highlighter or underliner because I get so excited to do that I'm just looking for something to highlight and not quite reading the book. So I feel like it takes me out of the experience of reading a book for the first time. I'm not dunking on anyone at all. I'm jealous of the annotators who can do it because that means I have to read the book again to be able to actually like highlight and underline all the quotes and prose that speak to me. But technically, I am rereading this book. I've already read it before, so it does fall within those weird rules that I have for myself that I can finally annotate and highlight this. Isn't that just so funny how like us readers just have like these weird little like quirks and rules for ourselves? That's like one of mine. I would love to know like if you guys have any rules that you set for yourself when you're reading, whether it's like with annotating or, you know, do you dog ear your books? Do you break your spines of your books? Do you keep them pretty pristine? Like, what are some of those rules that you have? Because I have plenty. I am a spine breaker though. I love this flop. That's a perfect book. A good, nice, floppy book that you can just open flat on its spine and just read it. That is the best. But if a book isn't like that, you best know I'm going to be bending the shit out of that and breaking that spines to make it nice. I have problems with like my nerves in my arms. So having a book that I don't really have to like hold open like this for hours at a time is kind of necessary for me to be able to enjoy it, because if not, if I'm like literally like holding it like this, my arms will cramp, carpal tunnel and all that stuff. I know I'm like a 28-year-old grandma, it sucks, whatever. But yeah, I had to finish that book before Friday because I promised Nikita that she was going to read it on our trip because she loves reading Greek mythology on vacations. And I thought that that would be a perfect one for her, but I do want to read it before she reads it to make sure that it's still good, to be honest. Like, I don't know if my like reading taste is still the same from like nearly a decade ago. Ew! Oh my god, I'm so old. Oh, yeah, I guess a decade ago. Wow, I'm gonna have a spiral about that later today. Okay. Well, yeah, I read that book nearly 10 years ago. So I'm sure that my reading taste isn't the same from then. Wow, you guys are watching a woman having an existential crisis about aging and getting older. I don't mind getting older. It's just like, whoa, that like kind of hit me really hard that like I haven't read that book in nearly a decade. So I'm really hoping that it holds up. It's been a while, obviously, since I've read it. And I have changed my tastes as the years have gone on. So let's see. Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna spiral about that. My god, I'm looking pretty rough. Today, oh god. So I always like to watch something or listen to something when I'm doing my chores. Just helps me, you know, not think about what I'm doing and I'm just distracted. So I was like looking through Libby just now to see if I could find like an audiobook that I could quickly just borrow. And Libby does those like 7-day loans for like really popular books. And I saw that they have Listen for the Lie, which is a super popular audiobook, specifically like book as well, but people say like if you're gonna read it, you should do the audiobook because it seems like it's based around a podcast that is looking into a murder that the main character may have done. And I literally just started it. And there's some parts where they insert the podcast into the book. And it literally has like that very classic like true crime podcast music and the way that it interviews people. And there's multiple different actors too. So it really makes it feel like you're kind of like listening to a podcast with also the book in the background too. Like it switches between POVs. So I'm really excited to read that. So man, if you guys looked at my Fable, because I use Fable to track my books now, my currently reading is kind of a mess. Right now, technically I'm reading like 5 books at the same time. I pick something up and then I stop reading it and then I'll go back to it and then I'll stop reading it again. And then something will capture my attention. I'll read that completely all the way through super, super fast. I'm kind of a mess when it comes to my reading journey, to be honest. Like, the books that I have, I still haven't finished Persepolis, which is the graphic novel. I also have Us Against You, which I was reading, which is the sequel to Beartown. I loved Beartown, and I took a while for me to read the second book, like kind of like a year. And I was like, okay, well, I might as well just read it now. And that is on my iPad. And it just hasn't grabbed me the way that Beartown has, like, but I'll definitely read it. I'm just kind of like not really in the mood to pick it up right now. And then I have Till We Have Faces, and now I have Listen for the Lie. And I also have All the Young Dudes, which is fanfic that I've been reading, but I took a pause because I knew that the tragic end was going to be coming within the next, I'm like kind of like in the second half of the story. And I don't know, I don't really want to read that. It's so sad. So, feeling like a mess right now. I kind of just want to get my life together. But my reading is always going to be that way. I'm such a mood reader, and I have like 5 things going on at the same time, plus shows that I'm watching, plus games that I'm playing, plus everything. I'm just kind of like, I'm an air sign, I'm a Gemini, so I'm like, just go where the wind takes me that day and what I feel like doing. And if someone tells me what I should do, I will do the exact opposite because you, I don't want to do what you want. Anyways, I'm listening to Listen for the Lie. My god, this vlog is going to be so chaotic. I don't know, this energy that I have right now is kind of crazy. I'm just so wild and crazy. Sorry, vlog. Alright. I think it's time for us to start the chores. I'm stalling. Genuinely, I'm stalling so I don't, but I have to. So, and you're gonna come along with me. You're gonna keep me company and you're gonna keep me accountable. So, thanks, vlog. It's all on you now. So, okay, let's do it. progress. I cleaned the litter. I loaded the dishwasher, did hand washing. I still have to wipe down the counters, and there's still some other hand washing things that I have to do, but I might just wait until the dishwasher is done and load it in then. I feel pretty good so far, starting to get my life back together, but I have to go back to my actual job. So I just took a shower. I'm in cleaner clothes than just my PJs, and I'm going to get back to work. So I'm actually a data analyst in my day job. So today I have to work on this monthly business review, so putting all of the data together for our team and analyzing it and explaining it. Not super interesting, but it's pretty easy to do. So I'm just gonna keep listening to that audiobook and keep going. I'm actually really liking it. I know I just started it, but I really like this audiobook a lot. Like, it's really easy to listen to, and the narrators are really good. The editing is really, really good. And so far, I'm really interested in the story. I think I've come to realize that I really like audiobooks for romance and for mysteries, thrillers, stuff like that. I really like that because I think for the thriller side, at least, it does remind me of like a true crime podcast, especially like this book is very reminiscent of it, and it like integrates it into the story. I used to be a really big true crime girly until I started getting really bad nightmares from all of some murders I was listening to. So I don't do it anymore. I'm not really in the true crime space anymore. But this audiobook is like really reminding me of when I used to listen to that like for hours and hours and hours and hours, which I'm pretty sure is not really good for your brain, but God, it was juicy. So I'm gonna keep listening to that while I do my job. Happy with how all this turned out. Don't look in there. That's not done yet. But counter is clear. That counter is clean too, so I'll take it as a win. The dishes will be done later tonight after I've cooked dinner. But yeah, happy. And now I can cook dinner with like a very clean kitchen, which is always a really good feeling. Tonight I'm making stuffed eggplant. Never made it before. I have a bunch of eggplant, so maybe I'll show you guys how I do that. But yeah, feel very accomplished. Okay, so I'm working on the stuffed eggplants for tonight, and I'm kind of using like a mixture of a bunch of different recipes, but I'm gonna just kind of wing it and see how it goes. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna scoop out the flesh in the eggplant. I already did it to this one. If it turns brown, it's totally normal, just what eggplant does when it's exposed to oxygen. So you're just gonna need a spoon, and you're just going to scrape it out. If you need to put it down, that's fine, but it should be pretty easy to do. And then just have your bowl here, because we're gonna use the insides. You don't want it to be completely to the skin, I think. I'm saying this as if I know, but I'm assuming you do want to have still some structure to the boat that we're creating. Keep a bowl next to you so that you can put it in. And I think that looks pretty good. Pretty fold out. And then I'm putting it into this baking dish, which is where they're going to cook. So I'm just going to keep going with these. Okay, Now that I have all of the flesh out, I'm gonna actually dump the bowl on my cutting board, and then I'm just gonna do a rough chop on these, because we're gonna cook these down, and I just want them to really blend in with the ground beef that I'm gonna be mixing them with. Nothing too crazy. I think that looks pretty good size-wise. We have some bigger pieces, some smaller pieces, but I think that looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna transfer it back into the bowl. When I cook it, I think it should be fine. So I'm gonna cut up the other things that are gonna be cooked down, which are half an onion and then this tomato that's been in my fridge and needs to be used. I'm gonna mix this onion pretty just like, I don't know, 1/4 of a cup of an onion. I don't know. I did 1/2 of a small onion because that's what I have. And now we're gonna take this tomato. I don't see any moldy bits, so I'm gonna use it. Yeah, this thing is mushy. And then the other part is that I'm gonna use some garlic in here. So I'm gonna grate like 2 cloves of garlic. You know what's so funny is that I love to cook. I'm a really, really bad baker. And it's because with cooking, you get to riff around and like, it's like jazz. You can kind of figure it out as you go. If you mess something up, you can just fix it really quickly. Whereas with baking, it's like, you forget an ingredient, you're fucked. And I'm really bad at following directions. Like even here, I'm not really using a recipe. I'm just kind of like going off of vibes. I'm just gonna grate this garlic. I don't know why, like, I'm totally fine to prepare things ahead of time for when I cook. Like I'm good to like mise en place is what it's called, where you prepare things ahead of time. And like you have your onions chopped up, all of your seasonings all ready to go. But when it comes to doing that for baking, I don't know why, I just like can't be fussed to do it. I just don't want to. For the trip that I'm going on, I'm gonna be making my chocolate chip cookies, which is like the one and only recipe that I get right and do well, and they taste incredible. It's the kind of recipe that I make it and people think that I'm a baker, and I'm like, no, I'm lying to you. I'm not a baker at all. I just know how to make these cookies and these cookies only. Everything else does not turn out. But at least I can cook. I'll take that. Okay, so we have our eggplant ready, including the motes that we have here for the filling. So these parts here that I just prepared are gonna be cooked down in a saucepan. So this is all set. All right, so now I'm gonna set this aside because we're all done with this. And we're going to make the breadcrumb topping, which I think would be really good with that. Like having like a little bit of crunch in it, I think will work really well. So we're just gonna make a pretty basic breadcrumb topping. I have some butter here, I have some breadcrumbs, and we're just gonna mix them together. I'm gonna start off with about that much breadcrumbs. I'm gonna season it with some salt, do some pepper, just a little bit, doesn't need much. Just gonna mix it. I'm debating whether I want to add the Parmesan with the breadcrumbs or put it on top. I think I'm gonna mix it in. I'm gonna mix it. So I have my Parmesan cheese that I already grated. I'm gonna put like that much cheese in there. Oh, it smells so good. It's so good already. Oh my god. I think that looks pretty good. I wish you guys could smell it. It just smells buttery and Parmesan-y and just delicious. So this is gonna go on top of the eggplants. I hope I have enough. I think I will. I'll just do like a little sprinkle on top. I used the oil from this like sun-dried tomatoes. I'm not using them, but I feel like the oil will add more flavor. So we'll see. I'm really just experimenting tonight. Okay, Added the onions in. I'm gonna cut these down until they're translucent. I'm gonna add maybe like a tablespoon of tomato paste. That much. And I'm gonna add the garlic. And you always want to cook down your tomato paste. Raw tomato paste flavor is just not great, so whenever you use it, I always put it in when I'm sauteing, and you always want to cook it down for at least like 5 minutes or until the color has deepened into like a darker red. I think it's cooked down a good amount. Now I'm gonna add in our eggplant. And I'll add in the tomatoes too. But I'm gonna get rid of some of this water. Kind of second guessing the tomatoes. I don't think I'm gonna put them in. I think they're too wet. And it's gonna really mess it up. Yeah, it's not moldy, but it's definitely not good. So I'm not gonna use the tomatoes. And we're gonna do some salt and pepper. Just a little bit. And I'm just gonna let this cook down for 5 more minutes, then remove it from there. My biggest fear is I'm putting in all this effort, and what if I hate it? It's always a fear of mine when I try something new. I think this is good, so I'm gonna set this off to the side. And I'm gonna put this in the fridge so that it cools down. And now we're gonna do the ground beef. Just some extra virgin olive oil. Dump it right in. And then just salt and pepper. This is just lean ground beef, so it is going to release a lot of fat, and I'm going to drain that before we mix it together to make our filling. Like, look at how much fat has released just from it cooking for like a couple minutes. We don't want that in the dish. I think that's it. Just a super quick cook on it, and then we're done. I'm going to drain this. Like, look at how much fat came off of that. That's crazy. So, just gonna discard this. We don't need this. And again, this is gonna go into the fridge to cool down, and then I'm going to assemble everything once it's cooled, alongside the eggplant mixture too. Okay, everything is cooled enough, and now we're basically going to make like a pre-cooked meatball, I guess. It's kind of what the recipe is looking like. So I'm gonna dump in my meat and put the eggplant mixture in. We're going to do 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. I think all of the Parmesan cheese that I grated. And then I'm gonna season it before and taste it before I add the egg. So I'm gonna do a little bit of salt because we don't need that much because of the cheese. I'm gonna do a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of garlic powder, oregano. I wish I had basil. I don't have basil. We'll live. It'll be fine. And then a little bit of cayenne just for some heat. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of red pepper flakes, mostly because I just don't like that it's a flake. I like it to for it to disappear into my food. I also really wish I had parsley, which is called in this recipe, but I don't. We literally just, there's this one creator that I follow, I think it's like Max something, and but she's from Nova Scotia, and whenever she makes something for her kids and she's just like making a recipe, she's like, we use what we have, it'll be fine, and I live by that completely. So let's try, see if it needs anything. Oh, that tastes really good. Okay, now we're gonna add the egg, which is gonna bind everything together. And I live in Canada, so eggs are not expensive here. I'm just lucky like that, I guess. We're gonna just mix that bad boy in. I've never done it like this before, like cooking the meat before making the meatball. But I guess technically this isn't really a meatball. I don't know. Now my next biggest issue is if I have enough filling for all of these eggplants, because I don't know. I hope so. Now we have our eggplants. I'm gonna move the eggs back in the fridge. And I guess we just fill them. I'm just gonna do a little bit at a time, like this, for now. Just so I can see how much I have for the filling. Okay, I think I'm gonna have enough. Oh, thank God. Yay! It's like the perfect amount. So 1 pound of ground beef is perfect for this recipe. And the oven is already preheated to 350. I'm gonna top it with our breadcrumbs that we made earlier. This will give it a nice, crispy, cheesy, buttery top. A really nice balance of textures. That looks good. I mean, I don't know if it shows up on camera. Kind of just looks like a lot of beige, but I promise it smells, and I'm sure it's gonna taste really good. These are gonna go in the oven for 50 minutes, and then when they're done, I will show you how they turned out. That looks so good. Oh my gosh, Edward, I know. Oh, that looks delicious. It looks so good. I wish I had like some parsley to put on top, but it smells divine. Can't wait to eat it. Sorry if you can hear my husband in the shower. It's been a couple of hours since dinner. I don't ever record when we're eating because that's no screens time. We sit together, my husband and I, we eat, but it was a hit. It was amazing. Like, it was really, really, really good, and I will be making it again. It's like, yeah, it has like cheese and breadcrumbs in it, but I mean, it's just, you're eating eggplant and ground beef, which is vegetables and protein. So if you want to try it, please do. It was absolutely delicious. So I think that today, I mean, it started off kind of rough, but I would say that today kind of turned into a success. I think I'm just gonna end the vlog here and just have a get my life together with me. Thanks for watching, guys, and please like and subscribe, and thanks for keeping me company. Honestly, I wouldn't have done nearly as much if you weren't along the journey with me, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!